One of the reasons I chose to start this year's Waymarker lesson with the cloth project is that it introduces students to Blender without the usual stress associated with a first-time Blender experience. The spinning cloth process uses several Blender tools and modifiers, but there are no major adjustments needed for modification use, and there's no real-time modeling to be done. The whole process is fairly straightforward, and the fabric models can be used to create many different story build assets. You will see what I mean once you take a look at the video. It will become even more apparent to you after you complete Part 2. So let's get started. The first step you need is to add a cube. If you are using the Waymarker Blender file available through the Waymarker Community Google+, or from the school, you will see that the cube is already set out for you. The windows are arranged so that you can navigate successfully through the lesson with no problem. Once you create the cube, you will need to navigate to the Physical Simulation button located on the same toolbar where the modifiers reside. Click on the button to see the collision button. Click on the button and leave it alone. There is no need to change modes, touch any other button, or otherwise manipulate the cube. We are only using the cube to help with the animation process for the cloth. Be sure you are in object mode and add a plane. If you snap the cursor to the center and your object to the cursor, your plane should appear right in the middle of your cube. That is fine. They are not connected, nor should either object get connected at any time during our spinning process. Adjust your settings in the End Properties window for consistency. Now we enter Edit mode. The only editing we need to do is subdivide. You can choose subdivide from the tool options and choose to cut more subdivisions from the operators options. Take it all the way up to 10. Now you are done editing. Return to the object mode. Our problem is that the plane is not yet pliable enough to animate. Now we can use a modifier to further subdivide the cloth. Once you found the modifier, you should use the default setting or you will end up with too much density. Too many faces are not necessary for this project. It's always a general rule. Use loop cuts or subdivides when you need them. Never add them when you don't, or your mesh will be too heavy. We will talk about triangles and polygons during our first lesson conversation, but many of you already know about the cost of density. So one surface subdivide will do in this case. Now apply the subdivide in object mode. The next step is to do that. Return to the Physical Simulation button and click it. This time you will need to choose cloth. You are going to animate the plane. Leave that cube alone. There are several cloth tabs, but you only need to change the quality up to 4 or 5 and find the Bake button. Select it and watch it bake. If it bakes too quickly, it probably didn't bake. It should be a slower process. Then look down and see the animation timeline beneath the working toolbar. Slide the green bar to the right and watch the cloth fold magically down over the cube. Choosing where and how many folds is a tailor's decision. So now you have a tablecloth. But alas, it's only an illusion. It's not yet a permanent change. To make it permanent, you will need to repeat the subdivision surface modifier process. Notice that the surface modifier falls into place after the cloth modifier. Modifications need to be done in sequence or you will end up with a mess. While in object mode, choose to apply the cloth modifier first and then to apply the subdivision surface modifier. At last, you have a permanent tablecloth in either object or edit mode. But wait, it isn't visible on both sides. You have another decision to make. Add an underside along with its polygons or use the tablecloth in World as is. Tablecloths and some haunted house furniture where the cloth is draped over the furniture work suitably without an underside. For other uses like bedspreads, curtains, or terrain, 2 sides are preferable. To create a backside, you will need to use the Solidify modifier. Don't adjust a thing unless you want to make it oddly thick. The good news is that making it thick does not add more polygons. Apply the modifier to make your 2-sided cloth permanent. Rename your plane, tablecloth, or masterpiece, or something likely. Finally, delete the cube. You never applied the modifier to the cube because you only needed the cube for the collision animation process. You could make a table out of the cube, but that's another project. In the next video, Part B of Part 1, We will unwrap the cloth model and export it from Blender so that we can import your magnificent cafe table into OpenSim. Save your Blender file.